Wake up. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everybody coming by, stopping by, taking a look at my video real quick. I have the round 4 game of Gawain Jones versus Wesley So. And this was requested by my guy Jacob. So this one's for you, man. I figured, I had a couple of hours. We've got about 2 hours until the tournament starts today. So I figured I'll go ahead and try to hop on and make me a little video real quick. I couldn't do this yesterday, because, they hadn't started the tournament yet, so there was nothing to make. But I should be able to get, if I don't cover something the day before, I should be able to get it the next day. So this is that game. Let me scratch my head right quick. So this is that game from round 4. And for all of my people from the Philippines, magandang umaga. It is nighttime to you guys now, so you guys probably mostly are asleep. So you'll see this when you get up. But kamusta, aking magay kaibigan, maraming salamat po, for watching my videos. Yesterday was a pretty good day, so hopefully just can carry that momentum into today. So we'll go and see. Let me minimize this real quick. Let's see what we have for this game, if you guys are ready. All right, so we got e4, e5. So general king's pawn opening. Like I always say, this is pretty much what you're going to always see. When you see e4, e5, is knight going to come to f3. We got knight to c6, bishop c4. So we have the Italian game. So, of course, we can have some Juco pianos, Juco pianissimos. And so we see knight to f6 and we see d4. Pawn takes d4, castles by white. So we have the Italian game, the 2-knight Scotch Gambit. It's not truly a gambit. You're going to get your pawn back, but it can result in some pretty sharp play, as you guys are going to see. A lot of you guys have probably heard about this game. It was pretty crazy. A lot of the situations that have happened to Wesley So in this tournament have mostly come out of the opening. I'm not sure if he's not remembering his prep or if, what exactly is occurring. But he's getting trapped a lot out of the opening in this particular tournament. So it's not the best so far. So we see knight takes e4. We got rook to e1. We have d5. And then we see bishop takes d5. And then we see queen takes d5. So it looks kind of strange, probably. It just looks like white gave away a piece. It's just like, where's the piece at, right? So if you guys want to go ahead and stop the video real quick, it's not my usual part that I'll stop the video on, but if you guys want to go ahead and stop the video real quick and see what white actually plays here, this move is the reason behind why the bishop was given away on d5. So go ahead and do so real quick. All right, cool. So for those of you that noticed that this knight is pinned to the king, like this, and the queen is undefended, and this pawn is also pinned to the queen, you guys would have found knight to c3. And that's the whole reason why the bishop was given away on d5, so that you can exploit, the queen's position and the knight's position. So it's a pretty interesting position. I'm thinking maybe some people might have thought like queen d3, but the problem with queen to d3 is after bishop to f5 or even f5, now you don't really have a way to exploit the pin. You can try to hook it up like this, but probably something like that. It's just not the best way to exploit the pin. So the most direct and immediate way is going to be knight to c3. So we see queen to a5. Knight takes on e4. This is all pretty standard theory. This is stuff that's been played as long as 1898 is the oldest game that I saw in the database. So we see bishop to e3, bishop to d2. We have queen to f5. We got bishop to g5, and we have bishop to c5. Now, bishop to c5 actually unfortunately loses on the spot. It is bad placement for the bishop. Two moves that were much better in this position were actually h6. This is going to be the most direct way to play. And after bishop to h4, you'd see bishop to d6, knight taking d4, knight taking d4, knight taking d6, pawn taking d6, queen taking d4. You see castles, then you see c3. And as you can see, this is slightly better for white because the pawn structure is better for white. you do have this isolated pawn here. And for the moment, you have the bishop controlling the d8 square, which, you know, g5 is going to knock that bishop back, but you constantly have a problem of defending this this pawn here. Backing up here, after bishop to g5, even bishop to d6 was legit. You know, then you'd see some similar play here. You know, knight takes, you know, queen takes, stuff like that. It'll be, you know, fairly similar to what you saw before. So, but like I said, we did see bishop to c5, and then we see knight to h4. And as you can see, the queen is really running out of squares. The only legitimate, I mean, I guess queen to e5 is a legitimate square. You know, you can do that, but I mean, f4 is going to come. Back up here. So we saw queen to d5. And like I said, I mean, this has all been seen before. And so we're not in novelty land yet. So after c4 comes, we see the queen back up to e5. And this is where the novelty comes in. The problem with white's queen is the fact that you're really wanting to hold on to this bishop. So you're kind of having to move laterally. And you guys see that this square is not a possibility. So c4, you know, kind of exploits the pin. I mean, you're gonna have to take here if you want to hold on to the bishop. But then the problem is gonna be rook to c1. So that's the main idea behind moving the you know, trying to deflect the queen over to the square. So after the queen comes to e5, which is the novelty of the game, we see knight coming back to f3. So we see the queen just continuously getting kicked around. So the queen comes back to f5. The knight comes back to h4. We see queen to e5, and then we see f4 now. You know, we can place a discovery on the king, which is what happens in the game. So we see d3 with check. After the king comes to h1, we see queen to d4. You know, we're still holding on to the bishop, but we're stepping out of the way of this pin. But as you can see, I mean, there's just so much firepower, you know, pointed at the king. There's the bishop crossing. The knight is able to come back to f3, which you do see now. So, you know, the bishop is getting really, really hard to hold. And you're just subject to way too many tactics and stuff in this particular middle game. So the queen takes on c4. You see rook to c1 now, and then you see the in-between move d2. But like I said, unfortunately, that just gives away your queen. So we see rook taking c4, the pawn taking e1, which queens with check, the queen taking on e1, and you see bishop to c4, and then you see knight takes c5 with check. And this is actually the position that Wesley So does resign the game. Just to show you probably the best possible continuation, you would see king moving over to f8, and then after queen to e4, you see bishop taking a2, and then you would see knight taking b7. You're not worried about this rook swinging over because you would just take here because there is no back rank mate because you do cover with the knight. So it's just you're just losing a piece. You know, there's a lot of different tactics. The main thing you have to think about in this particular position is this rook is in the corner. So really, it just kind of really seems like white is only using 3 of their pieces. Now the pieces are equal. The material count is equal, but like I said, I mean, you do have this rook that's completely in the corner, so it's not being used. So it's really like black is only using 3 of its pieces. So, you know, there was another game I covered, you know, where Wesley So, you know, he kind of fell for some opening traps and stuff like that. So, it wasn't very pretty. This is another example of that. You know, you no matter what level you're at, when you get in a position where you're developing your queen early. So if we just kind of look at, you know, how many times he moved his queen, he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. So his queen was moved 9 times, and he never castled, and neither one of these rooks neither one of these rooks were ever moved in the game. So no matter who you are, you know, you can get, you know, what level you're at, you can get, you know, kind of trapped and jammed up out of the opening. So nobody is, you know, exempt, you know, from the basic principles of the game. So, so this is for those of you guys that do seem like you get jammed up out of the opening quite a bit. Even Wesley So, is capable as you know, being the top 10 in the world, top 5 in the world probably. You know, he is still capable of being jammed up out of the opening. So, you know, don't get discouraged. Don't think that it only happens to the low-rated players or intermediate level players. You know, I'm a fairly highly rated player on chess.com myself. And, you know, I definitely have my fair share of getting jammed up out of the opening. It's always annoying. So don't get discouraged. Keep working. But yeah, that is that game. Appreciate you guys coming by. Miriam Salamat Po, King Magai Kaibagan. Mabu, hi to you. And appreciate everybody stopping by. And I'll see you guys next time. All right.